What is up, everybody, and welcome to episode 12 of the Sports Hour Plus with Miller and Watson. As you see, my computer is currently moving, and I'm going to preface this that both of my dogs are currently underneath my desk right now. My fiance is at a work happy hour, so they are both down here with me, which they normally are not. So if you see a little head pop up or a bark, they're just very excited. They're not camera shy, so they might pop in the frame for a second. But what's up? I have been just absolutely swamped with work. Obviously, it's Super Bowl week. So we are doing Radio Row interviews all week. The time difference is brutal. They're like very much still, it's like 5 p.m. there. They're like very much still working and like sending stuff over for us. And but it's fun. It's good. One more day. We have like a kind of a half day tomorrow. And then I found out that our show is going to be live, but what do you call West Coast time? What is that? Eastern time?
Yeah.
Pacific time. It'll be live Pacific time after the Super Bowl, which means I don't have to wake up at 5 a.m. I only have to wake up at 9 a.m. the day after Super Bowl. So very good things happening over in this household. Kyla and I just got off of a church call. They have found your broadcasting skills and are putting it to good use.
Yes, they are. The podcast thing is going well. We've got a phrase now that we're gonna say, which is great. Doing a good job. Shout out to my colleagues. There's a great leader there, led by Devaney. Shout out to Devaney and the rest of our podcast team, who does an excellent job as we prepare for the launch, which should launch next Thursday, actually. So first episode cool. Next Thursday on all streaming services. So yeah, if you want to support, it's Christian Stronghold Church. I believe it is the Crossroads podcast. So definitely check that out.
Good title. It's a good name.
Yeah, thank you. Like I said, an excellent team. So check that out. Episode 1 should drop next Thursday. So if you do it right, you can check out this podcast, and then right after that, you can check out the intro podcast of the Crossroads. So definitely do that.
And again, apologies for the late recording tonight. Like I said, we're live Eastern time or Pacific time, which means we're live from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. here. Mm-hmm. Which is late. And then I'm editing the podcast afterwards and posting it for NBC. So this is kind of the quickest I could get on. And then, of course, we're in the midst of dance team season. So I have practices. It's a 2 competition week for my girls. So we have a big one on Saturday. So
good luck. We are number one. We are the number 1 fans on this podcast.
Of High School girls varsity dance team. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. The competition we're going to on Saturday is my favorite competition all season. The school that hosts it did such a good job. It's close to us, which is really nice too. Most of the comps are like an hour away. This one's like 20 minutes, so they're really excited. Had a great practice tonight. We have another one tomorrow, and hoping to go and crush it on Saturday. But
so what she's saying is they're going to be willing her to the Super Bowl party on Sunday night because of all the work she'll be doing. It's going to be like,
I won't be able to talk. I'm shocked that I have a voice right now. We had a competition on Tuesday, and I screamed so much at these. But I got to celebrate girls and women's in sports day with them, which is really awesome. I've gotten to do Thank you. I've been really blessed to get to do a lot of stuff for women in sports and supporting other women in sports. A few weeks ago, I did an all-female broadcast at Sacred Heart. It was our 3rd one. I do a symposium every year at Sacred Heart where we bring back alumni and we talk. I host a keynote event where we talk to professionals in the industry, and the undergrads get to ask questions. And it's just a really great kind of community building thing. They've made a really nice network of women. I'm really lucky at NBC. We have an amazing group of women that work there. I don't ever really feel different for being a girl there, which I think is really great. And I know that that's not the story everywhere and at every media conglomerate. So I feel really blessed. And I, am surrounded by a lot of really great people when I do some on-air stuff. So I'm lucky. For dance, it's always a little bit difficult because you get to National Women and Girls in Sports Day, and then you have all the people that are like, oh, dance isn't a sport, this and that. And I would challenge anyone who doesn't think that dance is a sport or that dancers are athletes. We can argue all day about if dance is a sport, and that's fine. That's mainly people who've never participated in a dance team, which is totally fine, totally understand that. But to say a dancer isn't an athlete, I think is wrong. I know many people who are very good athletes that wouldn't last a second in dance class. So it was great to get to spend the day with my girls and just continue to try and be a role model for them and for all other females in sports, because I'm lucky that I have a lot of great role models in my life. So
Amen.
with that,
Amen.
Follow us on X, Twitter, whatever your heart desires to call it. I don't know if I'll ever be able to call it X. It's like calling Kanye Yee or Yay. Like, I just don't think I'll ever get there.
Not outside
maybe
of I only do it in professional settings, but since we're not, I mean, technically we're in one now, but this is kind of
it's what is it? Everyone says X formerly is Twitter is like what the big thing is. I don't know. Follow us on those. We have some great takes that come off. I'll be tweeting during the Super Bowl. I'm sure Callum will be too.
More than likely. More than likely.
It's going to be, hopefully it's a great game, but we'll get to that later. So we have a lot to talk about today, but the first thing we're going to talk about is the NBA trade deadline, which of course happens to just fall on the craziest few weeks. We have, football is finally over. So you think that it's not going to be crazy. No. You have the Pro Bowl, you have NHL, All-Star weekend, and then of course, college basketball has just absolutely taken over the weekend. So a lot is going on. So let's give us your first impressions. So give me one word that you would describe the last 10 days.
Crazy. Because I mean, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago when Josh Lepper was on here that we didn't expect any I didn't expect, and none of us expected any big moves. And obviously we had a lot of in conference trading, mostly in the East, as you can tell by this lower third. Besides OKC, there really wasn't an OKC. I know some of y'all will argue OKC is not a Western thing, but the way the NBA does it, it is. It's a West Coast team. OKC was really the only team the only contender in the West that actually did something. They got Gordon Hayward. So Gordon Hayward is finally out of Charlotte. And is that OKC finally gets to play for a contender, and hopefully he can stay healthy. As we all know, he had that very, very scary broken leg when he played for the Celtics. He's been trying to recover. As somebody else who has broken a femur, and can tell you that it is a recovery. And obviously I did that when I was in my early 20s. So the recovery was a little bit 6 months and I was back. But he's a professional athlete. Obviously he was a little bit older when he broke his leg, so it's taking him a little longer. And then I can tell you, somebody that's done it, you never really you recover, you gain your trust back, but you never really trust that leg again.
Yeah, so it's everybody that has broken something, it doesn't just go away. It's still I tore a tendon, which should completely recover itself. And there are times where I'm running and I'm like, ooh, I'll take a step weird and be like, oh, that didn't feel like it should. And those injuries, they last. And I mean, props to him for being back to where he is now, because a femur that's a giant, that's so painful and such a big recovery. And to be able to do that and to now be somewhere where
you can contend,
relatively wants to be and can contend for a ring, I think is huge.
Yeah, so shouts out to him. It was an MCL, ACL for him. Obviously, except for me, nobody really breaks their femur. so it's the other tendons in the body that are a little bit smaller. Yeah, so but I'm good. Obviously, I can run around, walk around more than she's seen me in person, so she knows that I can relatively walk around and still good. So those of you that are worried about this, it happened. It happened a long time ago. So like it's not a recent injury. So I'm not breaking any news here by saying this. But yeah, so you had like him going to OKC. We'll get to this in a minute, but Buddy Hield going to the Sixers. The person that has been most associated with the Sixers over like the last 5 years is finally a Sixer. I know a lot of people are rejoicing in the city, and some people are trying to think, wow, what the heck is going on here? Um, Bojan Bogdanovic is finally a Knick. He's not the only one, but I know the Knicks fans are so excited because they finally have a good and a deep team. I'm sorry to tell you, we all know how this is going to end. A first round and or a second round exit. It always is a disappointment for you guys. You're the Knicks. I'm sorry to tell you that. So like, and obviously there were a lot of smaller moves. Xavier Tillman went to Boston. Pat Beverly got traded from the Sixers to the Bucks. There was a lot of trading between like the top three teams in the East, which a lot of people are like, why are the Bucks trading with the Sixers? Why are the Sixers trading with the Bucks? Why are the Sixers giving the Celtics help? Like it's the NBA. It's a business at the end of the day, guys. You guys have to realize that a lot of this rivalry stuff is just for the fans and for show. Like a lot of these, it's a business at the end of the day. So like, that's what it is. And the winners and losers of the NBA trade deadline. I have to say the losers are every California team, right? The losers because all the Cali teams, the Sacramento Kings, the Golden State Warriors, both LA teams. Now, obviously, the Clippers, they made their trade earlier. Obviously, they traded for James Harden. So let's just exclude them. But that trade happened like months ago, so they didn't really need to do anything. So exclude the Clippers. But every other California team lost because the Lakers didn't do anything, and we all know they need to do something. LeBron is getting a lot older. A lot of y'all's GOAT is getting older. Bronny may or may not come out this year. We'll see. But the rumor is that the Clippers are going, not the Clippers, the Lakers, sorry, are going to be in on Donovan Mitchell, DeJounte Murray. They're going to load up when they have 3 first-round picks, obviously. So for you Knicks fans who have visions of getting a Mitchell Brunson backcourt, I don't know. I don't know if he'll come home or go to Cali. He might go to Cali. He said, So it's that they lost because they didn't do anything. Now obviously the Warriors, they just won a championship recently a couple of years ago. Obviously, they're in like the 11th spot. They're getting older, so they really might not, they're probably valuing their youth right now because everybody's getting older. Klay Thompson will probably be traded or like let go in free agency. They'll still have our favorite Draymond Green, and they'll have their youth. They'll have their youth, so it's looking relatively okay.
It'll be really weird to see Klay in another uniform.
Yeah,
that will be really weird. There's some people that it's just weird, and I think he'll be like one of them.
He'll definitely.
And I feel like in the NBA, there's so much movement in the NBA that a lot of times I don't feel like that. But with him, I feel like that he's just been the Splash Bros, like so just synonymous with the Golden State Warriors, almost as much as Steph has been.
Yeah. I mean, so like it'll be interesting to see where he goes. Will he go home to the Lakers? Because obviously his dad played for the Lakers and he's a radio broadcaster for the Lakers. So he has the Lakers in his blood. Now, will that happen? Will he stay in Cali? Will he go to Philadelphia? Will he go somewhere else? Who knows? But we'll see. We know he won't be in Washington. We know that. So like we know that won't happen. We know that won't happen unless he's practicing at Georgetown. So we know that won't happen. So we know that, but the winners, drum roll, the winners of the trade are the Knicks and the Sixers because they did what they were supposed to do. Now I know the Sixers fans that are listening to this are all like, "What are you talking about, Colin? They got rid of Patrick Beverly, they got rid of James Springer, they got no defense now." Calm down, y'all. Woosah, guys. Like, you have to look at what's going on. Like, they brought in somebody who is a career 40% 3-point shooter in Buddy Hield. Right now,
Yeah.
he is shooting. He makes 38.4% of his 3-pointers, which would be second on this team in 3-pointers behind one Tyrese Maxey, right? So he's going to come in and instantly give the Sixers points, give them a 3-point shooter, somebody who's not afraid, somebody who will shoot from New York City and make the basket and somehow travel. The ball will travel the 2 hours to make a shot in Philadelphia. Like, this is a man
Yes.
who does not mind shooting. The other one, Cameron Payne, another one who's actually, he has a higher 3-point percentage than Buddy Hield right now. His is 38.4%. So like, you can see that with the Sixers moves today, they fully expect to get healthy and get Joel Embiid back, which is why they brought in Buddy Hield. They probably will extend him. That's what I'm hearing. They probably will give him a 2-year, $40 million extension. Obviously, they will have $60 million in free agency. The Sixers have said and signaled before this season started that they were looking to next summer to get a lot of people to pair around Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. Tyrese Maxey will get his money as well. But right now, the only full-time contract is Joel Embiid's. So we'll see, but I fully expect the Sixers to do good. And right now, they did good enough for the trade deadline to make me happy. They got the shot creator and the third scorer that I was talking about, somebody who can move Tobias Harris down to fourth. That's Buddy Hield. He will have more points. Right now, he's only averaging 12 points per game, but that'll rise up now, especially without Joel Embiid and the increased touches and with Tyrese Maxey dealing with the flu. Pause, guys. I think the Sixers need a vitamin specialist. Like, you know how the old school wrestlers when we were kids more used to say, eat your vitamins, beat the cold. Like, you remember that? I think that's what the Sixers need to do, bro. They need the vitamin specialist because I feel like a flu has been running through the Sixers since like the season started, and it's just gotten worse since they got back from Utah, Denver. They went to all the cold places and then went to San Francisco, and they've been sick ever since. So multiple players have been sick. I know Morgan was dealing with an illness a few weeks ago. Obviously, it's that season. It is winter. You're gonna get sick. So, like, they just need to come through that. The Knicks, shout out to the Knicks. You're finally seeing the vision. A lot of shooters around Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle. They just need to get healthy. So the Knicks are my winners and the Sixers. So 2 teams, New York and Philadelphia, very much in on this thing. And then I kind of talked about this already, but you go ahead, ask a question.
No, I was going to say I like it. I like the recap.
Yeah. So, like, what the Hield acquisition means for the Sixers and their chances at a championship, what it means is that the Sixers are still in. I know a lot of people wanted them to punt on the season, just sit Joel Embiid down. What's up, Kendrick Perkins? We hear you. Telling him to shut it down. After y'all were telling him 2 weeks ago to get his big ass and in the court and play Jokic. Shout out. We heard that. So like, it's a whole thing, but I think it means that the Sixers are all in right now for the playoffs. They've got shooting now. And it could get better because they have 3 roster spots currently open right now, which they will probably fill one of them with Kyle Lowry. I feel like this is kind of obvious because the coach that he won a ring with is in Philadelphia right now. So Kyle Lowry will probably fill out one of those spots. But they will be aggressive in the buyout market. They need to get a backup center. But everything else they have right now, and if Joel Embiid comes back in the next few weeks, it'll be up again for the Sixers. But right now, it just means that they're still in on the playoffs while trying to maximize flexibility. And I know to a lot of people, it looked kind of confusing. It looked kind of confusing to me until I thought about it too today. But they're clearly trying to balance staying in contention this year with the future, which is throwing the bag at Tyrese Maxey and getting somebody else to come in here. Tobias Harris may not be here, so that'll be the max. The other max contract spot. So they have a max at 3, so they should have Joel Embiid will be 1, Tyrese Maxey will be 1, and then you'll have whoever they get to come in here with the 60 mil. So yeah, so I think that's really what it'll be. And we shall see what happens the rest of the season.
Yeah.
All right. So we
have to do a little bit of an update. So not a ton has happened. All of the players are charged with either 1 or 2 accounts, and they did add somebody. They added Alex. I think it's Formention. I think that's how you say his
Something
last name,
like
Formention.
Yeah.
So the AP reported this. I think was it yesterday or 2 days ago?
2 days ago, I believe. Yeah.
2 days ago. So again, just a little bit of an update. Crappy story. I mean, just anything that goes along with this kind of stuff is just, there's not much to say. It's just crazy. It's the idea of somebody wanting to overpower someone else. And, it sucks that you hear about these stories so much in sports, and you wish that you could just stick to sports, but sometimes you can't. And sometimes you have to talk about this stuff. Obviously, it's a horrible story. I hope that the female involved gets all the justice that she deserves. And I really wish, like, if I could have any wish going forward, we would just stop hearing these kind of stories.
Yeah. And yeah, go ahead.
No. That's just it's sucky. It's crappy. It's sucky. It's shitty. You feel for everybody that's involved in this situation because it's just horrible.
Yeah, it's a very crazy situation. I mean, I think we kind of did a good enough job talking about it last week. Obviously, what I said last week comes into fruition. Stories like this is where the other half of my degree in criminology comes in. Like, obviously, they're not saying that it was a gang rape, but everything that they're implying with the way they're charging kind of says it was a gang rape. And kudos to the NHL for handling this correctly. Some leagues, as we've seen, this has happened. It hasn't been as much in the NBA, but I mean, we did have the Josh Giddey situation as well. And this has happened a lot with the NFL. That the kudos to the NHL for getting ahead of it. I don't know what went into the personal leave that all these players took, but the NHL has handled it completely correctly. They're not out there saying, we're defending our guys. We don't think they did it. They're not minimizing it. They have handled it correctly, and we have seen other sports organizations not handle it correctly. So good on the NHL for actually not making this story a lot worse. So I will give them their credit because they could have totally NFL'd it. So it's very much a credit to them. And the NFL has gotten a lot better.
To not lighten the mood, but lighten the mood a little bit. It's kind of like that quote that's been going around. It's like, with all the things that they say NFL, but I'm going to say all sports, with all the things that happen in sports, all the bad things. If you're mad about Taylor Swift being on your screen, you have bigger problems. Like there's real problems happening. And if you find yourself more mad that Taylor Swift has a new boyfriend who happens to be in a Super Bowl than a story like this, then go check your priorities.
Man, you're not taking the over. This isn't the time to make this show, but we're here, whatever. So you're not taking the over under on like how soon she'll be able to fly the jet and land on the field. You're not taking that prompt.
I think they said that she can get there 12 hours before. So I think they said that Sunday by 6 or 7 a.m. she should be able to be there.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. Tokyo. I think there's her last show.
Yeah, I don't know. You would
tomorrow
know better than
me. I think her last show in Tokyo is tomorrow night, and they're a day ahead of us.
Yeah. So technically,
it's so weird. I don't get it.
It'll be Saturday over here, but yeah. So and shout out to Zach and Cody, Sweet Life on Deck, for teaching us about the international date line, because I never thought that would come in again. And now all these people are doing math on how she could do it, and the international date line came up again. So shout out to Sweet Life on Deck for teaching us all that.
That was a great show.
I bet y'all never thought y'all would hear that on a sports podcast. This is why millennials get together.
Before we move on, I have to say I got an argument with my dancers a few days ago. I was like, you guys have no idea how good Disney Channel used to be. You have no idea.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to a new slate segment. Goes Morgan Does Hockey. So I don't know how many of you know I'm a huge hockey fan. I grew up going to games. My brother works for the Washington Capitals. The day they won the Stanley Cup was one of the best days of my life. So we're just going to do a quick recap, like super quick, nothing in detail on the All-Star weekend that they had last weekend. I'm sure many of you didn't watch it. I got to watch it for a little while in between games I was calling. It was so fun. So they did this whole skills competition, and it literally was like what you want to see. We were talking about this last week about how the NBA has like one of the best All-Star weekends, and this was kind of like that. They did like fastest skating, hardest slap shot, stick handling, best passer, all this stuff. It was really fun to watch. It was quick pace, all the fun things you like to see in hockey. The big names were there. Connor McDavid crushed like half of them. He's won fastest skater the last like 3 years in a row. But it was really fun. And then, of course, after that, maybe yesterday, it was announced that NHL players are allowed to play in the Olympics coming up in 2026.
Okay.
The Winter Olympics are in 25. Really?
Yeah, you're probably, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
I don't know. 2 years, I think, from now is, I don't know, but I think it's 26. But so fun, which is so exciting because for so long they haven't been able to play. They were supposed to be able to play the last Olympics, and then COVID hit, and they started like pulling back restrictions on all of them. I don't know if you remember the story about how the U.S. like didn't have a hockey team literally to send, so they ended up getting like all these college kids together super last minute. So it'll be fun. You get to see all your big names, and hockey is one of the sports that basketball's getting there, but hockey is so fun if you watch hockey and you watch it in the Olympics because most of the teams are completely filled with NHL players. The whole Canadian team, the whole US team, most of the Russian team. They do have the KHL in Russia, so some of them, but like most of their big names are American. Those are the big kahunas in hockey. And like the US, they don't normally make it that far. Our Lord and Savior, TJ Oshie, back in 2014, I think.
Something like that. I remember this.
yeah. It was my freshman year of college, so I think it was 2014.
You tend to remember every time the U.S. wins in hockey because it doesn't happen.
Yeah. TJ now plays for the oh my God, I said the Commanders, the Capitals, which is fun. So I think it's going to be awesome. I think we're going to hear a lot more about this. I think this is going to be, again, it's just more fun to watch. It's always more fun to watch a sport when you know the names in it. And for people who don't follow hockey, these are still going to be people that you know. You're going to have your Alex Ovechkin, your TJ Oshie, your Connor McDavid, your all of these big names that come out. You're probably Connor Bedard will be playing, #my cousin, will be playing. And it'll be great. It'll be fun to see all these big names. And I'm excited for it. I think that, like I said, I watch. So we'll kind of get a little bit into NFL. I don't know how much of the Pro Bowl you got to watch. The weirdest event I've ever seen in my life. It was so bad.
Hey, the NFC won, so I don't care.
They were like, we were at the bar watching it. We'd gone to New York to see my mom, and they were like running through walls. And I was like, what is going on? This is too much. It was just like, I don't know. They need to simplify it. Like if they're marketing it towards kids, that's fine. That's kind of how it felt. It felt like it was like a Nickelodeon broadcast, which is totally fine if that's what they want to do. But I don't understand. And maybe I don't understand flag football rules enough, but like, why are there's no offensive linemen. There's no defensive. There's no linemen. Like, it's just, you only have skill players out there, but like the skill players can't do anything without it was all weird.
Yeah.
Did you see Dan was dying laughing? He kept watching the center because the center spikes the ball and they have to just like stand there. And we were like, what are you doing?
I didn't watch. I saw a piece of it during like Sunday dinner, but like I was playing 2K during this, so I won't even front and say I watched anything on Sunday. Like as far as sports.
Watched it if it hadn't just come. If it hadn't been on the TV in the bar, I wouldn't have watched it. I have to say though, what they did the night before, they did that skills competition. That was way more enjoyable to watch. They did the one thing that I watched was the quarterbacks throwing. They had to like throw it into.
I heard about this. I saw the video of Jalen Hurts doing it. I think he won, or he might. That
one was. I think it was him and Baker. No, it was CJ Stroud and Baker. I think we're in the finals for it.
Oh, okay. Well, He probably didn't try.
The centers were like spiking the ball, or like spiking. Is it spiking? What do they do? What is that called? Hiking.
Hiking.
They were hiking the ball, and there was like a chart behind them, and they could like hike it into different holes, which was pretty cool. Watching like Kelsey do it was cool. So I mean, there was some fun stuff like that, but I think that should be their main event. Like, I just think you get away with the All-Star game, the Pro Bowl game. No one watches it. Do combine stuff. Do fun stuff that the guys will actually train for and want to beat each other in.
I'm just saying, punt, pass, kick. We talked about this last week.
Yes,
kick. Check out episode 11 to see us talk about the punt, pass, and kick. NFL hire us. Punt, pass, and kick.
Yeah,
in Orlando, Florida. I mean, even Jason Kelsey said that like the Pro Bowl was secondary because all his kids are 4 and under. So like all they wanted to do as
we went to go see Elsa
out last week was see Elsa. That's all they were. The football game wasn't even important to them because
they didn't care.
You know,
all right. That's enough hockey for today. I know some people are like forward. This is huge news. So this is a combination of 3 of the biggest names in sports. So you have Warner Brothers, you have Fox, and you have Disney, which is ESPN, for those of you that don't know. They're joining together to create a streaming app. So we were kind of talking about this before the pod. I was like, what does that mean? Does that mean ESPN Plus is going away? Does that mean that Fox Sports, which like most people don't watch Fox Sports on anyway, is going away? Like, I just don't know. And then you were talking about how you're at home with your parents and they still have cable, so it doesn't even matter. So it's just I don't know. The biggest one for me is the Disney one, because if it is affecting ESPN Plus, that's going to be really interesting, because 90% of the college sports that are broadcast on ESPN Plus. They're not on, so like all the lower level stuff. So I do a ton of what they call Olympic sports, is what I like to do sideline for. All of those are on ESPN Plus. They're on ESPN. You can find them. You can watch them live on your streaming app. But if they're going away, do we know what the new streaming site is going to be called?
Not yet. So we know. So there's 2 things.
So obviously this all came out because Disney did their earnings call these last few weeks. So some of you may have seen yesterday, I believe. So some of you may have seen that yesterday you got flooded with Moana 2 is coming out. Shout out to all of us Moana fans. Inside Out 2 is coming.
I'm excited for that. I'm sad that Lin-Manuel Miranda isn't doing it, but do you know who's writing the music for it?
I have no idea who's doing it.
Okay. Do you remember during COVID? Sorry, I'm going on a tangent here. There are these 2 girls, Abigail Barlow, and I can't remember the other girl's name, but they wrote a Bridgerton musical. Do you remember seeing this?
I think I heard about it. All my theater friends were very.
And then they got sued. They won a Grammy for it, and then they got sued. So Disney has hired them to write the music for this, and they're really amazing writers. So I'm excited for them. So shout out women in broadcasting, whatever you want to call it. I'm really excited for them to be able to do this. I think it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, so you might have seen all this stuff. Obviously, ESPN is launching a SportsCenter standalone app as well in 2025. So you may have seen all this stuff and been like, what the heck is going on, blah, blah, blah. So a Disney earnings call happened. This is why we know about this stuff. So WB, Fox, and Disney are basically coming together. This is something that we never thought would happen. So what this says to me, right, is that I try and tell people that, right now, the only app that is doing well just because of the nature of the thing is Peacock. And this kind of illustrates the point that Peacock is right now the only streaming service that is doing well. Obviously, some of that is PL, the WWE events, and the movies, because, when you have all that, when you have all that, you're going to win, right? And obviously, they have the Olympics, and the football, the exclusive football game, which juices the numbers. But here for WB, Fox, and Disney, they don't really have the Olympics or the PL or anything to juice that. And obviously, you see also conspicuous by their absence, CBS isn't on here either. So, the 2 things that are probably doing well, Paramount Plus and Peacock aren't on here. But what this is they're going to combine rights. So the biggest ones for people that care, your NBA games will be on this joint app. I know, so I'll just spell it out for people, because some of y'all, this is the only way you're really going to know about this until it launches, and you're going to be all like, what the heck is this on my TV? So if you have Max, you should be okay. I don't know about Fox Sports or Disney Plus or ESPN Plus, but I think you should be okay if you have this. It should be free to you. I think that's what I heard it should be. But this just really says that, this is where it's going. Like, it's going to be bundled. It's essentially going to be cable. Morgan just joked that, I still live with my boomer parents who still have cable. But that's where it's going, y'all. It's becoming cable. You've seen it. Like, we were talking about this off air, how my dad was upset because Prime has added ads now. And he's like, what the heck, yo? So, like, this is the way it's going, right? They're adding ads. They're coming together. It's essentially about to be cable. But for people that care, this is where this app will be. If you don't have any one of these streaming services and you still don't have cable anymore, you're a cord cutter, we're talking to you. Like, this is where you'll find your national NBA games, your national college football. The college football playoffs will be on here. Now, if you still have cable or regular TV, does that mean you won't get the college football playoff? I assume not, because that's where the majority of views are going to come from. But yeah, that just says a lot. Like, this is where we are. Like, sports streaming app. This kind of leads in, unless you have any thoughts about this. But yeah, I just think this says that, right now, especially for Max, because why would you take out HBO? But Max and, Disney Plus aren't really doing well. My
question is, like, where does Fox, and this might be stupid, is Fox just still letting, like, Netflix and stuff and Hulu pay for the rights to, like, stream their shows? Because they don't have, like, a place like a Peacock where all of NBC's network shows are on, right? I think Kylan's frozen. I'm pretty sure, because I want to say, like, New Girl is what I'm thinking of, and I still watch that on Hulu, whereas, like, I can't get, like, The Office, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, any of those. Like, that's exclusively on Peacock. So that's my wondering, like, is this going to affect other shows like that? Sorry, did you hear what I said?
Yeah, I heard you. That will it affect the other shows and stuff? I don't think so. I think.
Yeah,
it's not clear.
Fox doesn't have one of those streaming services already, right? So I'm thinking that Fox Sports is just going to be gone. Like, that's not going to exist anymore, because that's all it does is Fox. I don't even know what they show on there. I don't know if I've used it for college basketball, but I don't know what else I would have ever used it for.
So, like, essentially for all of you, like, so essentially on this app, you'll have, because Fox has the rights to, like, the Big Ten and stuff, you'll see Big Ten stuff on this app. You'll see NBA stuff thanks to Disney and WB. All the other ESPN stuff, like college sports that ESPN has the rights to, will be on this app. It's essentially another way for all of them to get money, especially Fox, because like you said, they had a stake in Hulu, but Disney bought them out. Obviously, Disney now, for those of you that don't know, has full ownership of Hulu now, because I believe they bought out NBC as well. So now they have full ownership of Hulu. So now it used to be, for those of you that don't know, a joint sharing between NBC, Fox, and Disney. This is a little bit of inside baseball about Hulu. It is no longer that now, because, like, Disney now has Hulu, ESPN, all of 20th Century Fox, all that stuff that you like. Is on Disney now. So like the Fox Sports. So basically, essentially, this is how you should think about it. SEC, all that stuff. ESPN doesn't have the rights to that, but ACC stuff, all that stuff from all of their apps will be on here now. But you still should be okay if you already have the app. But if you want to add to your payment, so be it. Me, I'm cheap, so I'm gonna keep the apps that I have. But, like, I think
I agree. I have no interest in. I mean, we pay for YouTube Plus, or YouTube TV, so that's. I feel like I just have cable now again.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah. So this
we
good to find that question.
So
yeah.
Essentially, yes. Eventually, they're all going to start to bundle together, and you're going to just pay for bundles of channels together on streamings. And again, we were talking about this the other day at work. If there was a way that you could, like, and again, this is so funny because it's literally cable. The worst part about stuff that's on streaming is that you have to close the app and open up another app to watch something.
Yep.
Especially watching games on streaming. That's the worst part. You can't just switch channels during commercial or something like that. If there was ever a way that they found a way to put all the streaming services together and you could just switch channels, it's cable. I forgot. That's literally what cable is. But like that would be the best case scenario, because that is the only thing that really sucks about. I don't notice much difference on streaming except for like you feel kind of stuck, and then sometimes if you leave, you get back in, it's like hard to find where you left off because it like pauses it for you. That's the only thing that's a little weird. So sorry, I keep checking Twitter because I'm keeping up with the NFL honors tonight.
No, it's fine.
If any winners have come out. I don't think anybody's won anything yet. It might not start till
probably doesn't start till midnight.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it is cable. Essentially, I don't know about Morgan, but as a little sports fan, a few years ago, I always said that I would love it if there was a way for like them to have, when I was younger, obviously, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, Disney, the trinity of kids television, and all the sports stuff, right? And this is kind of halfway to that dream. Now, with this app, you'll have all the sports. If you don't already have, obviously, HBO Max, for those of you that travel and you have the Fox Sports app, and Disney Plus and Hulu, then you will have all that, and you won't have to deal with like the news or any of that other stuff blocking your sports. So for those of you that like all that and want to do all that, you should totally do it. But if you're like me and Morgan and you already have the app separately, except for maybe the Fox Sports app, we're not trying to belittle the Fox Sports app for those of you that have it. I just don't have it. I don't think Morgan has it either. But like
it's definitely like on my TV, but like I don't know if I've ever clicked on it. Like I don't really. Again, I couldn't tell you what shows on there. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. So,
I would just assume it's Undisputed and all that other stuff. But yeah, we can move right along. The other big football story, Brett Favre reacts. Yes, we're talking about another Dickey Packers quarterback. Has been told to reimburse.
This came up, I have to say. I said to Kyle when we were talking about this before we came on air, I was like, this is like, why are him and Aaron Rodgers so similar? And then this morning, my fiance was like, did you see that Aaron is back on Joe Rogan? And I just like rolled my eyes, and Dan was like, what? And I was like, I just am sick of hearing his name. Go play football. Like, go do something productive instead of just running your mouth.
No one has done more with half of a Berkeley education than Aaron Rodgers, bro. No one's done more with it.
Like,
but yeah, so Brett Favre, the quarterback before him, for those of you that don't know, he has been in a dispute because it has come out that him, Governor Tate Reeves, the current governor of Mississippi, and a bunch of other people, I have to say allegedly conspired to steal money from Mississippi. For those of you that don't know, Mississippi is the poorest state in this country. And so he stole some funds to build a volleyball stadium for his daughter, who happened to be, you won't believe this, Morgan, this is the most country name ever. I'm not judging his daughter, but when you see this name, you'll know instantly that she's from Mississippi, and probably Brett Favre's daughter. I don't want to get this wrong, but I believe it's Ryleen or Rylan. R-Y-L-E.
Wait, R-I...
R-Y-L-E-A. I believe it's spelled R-Y-L-E-A-N-E Favre. I believe that is what it's spelled, but you could probably Google.
I bet it's Rylan.
Rylan.
If I saw that, I would say Rylan, but it could be different.
I said Rylan Favre, but like his name is Brett Favre, so like you never know. So Rylan, we don't, obviously she has nothing to do with this, just the fact of he decided that he wanted to do this. When she was at this point at that school in Mississippi playing volleyball, indoor volleyball, he wanted to build a stadium, and then she switched to outdoor volleyball or beach volleyball, as a lot of my Olympics fans will remember, beach volleyball. So she switched to that. But he stole the money, or allegedly stole, not really. He stole the money. I don't have to say allegedly with him, as you can see by this lower third, according to the AP, right? So like he's been told by an auditor to continue repaying the money, and he's good for it. He's a millionaire. So like just repay the money, Brett. I am sick of every time something comes out, it being about you, and then you being a clear case of somebody that has something wrong in their mentals. Like, why you really had no good explanation for doing this other than the Mississippi governor was allegedly corrupt enough because you are Brett Favre and you are a god in that state, like essentially,
Just
let you do it.
I would love to see his, and again, I would just love to see his finances beyond this. Like, did he gamble all his money away? Like, could he not have afforded this just by being Brett Favre? Like, did he really have to steal all that money from like the poor people in Mississippi who actually needed it?
Yeah. So
that's what I don't understand. Like, that's my biggest question. It's like, I can even kind of comprehend that if like you've lost all of your money and you want your kid to still think you're Brett Favre and you want to do whatever. I can kind of wrap my brain around it. But if you are still,
go ahead.
That's my confusion.
Yeah, but even so, like, you know, you couldn't do what everybody else does, like wink, wink. Here, I'll give you a library. Let her in. Here's the stuff. I know. Maybe what.
No,
maybe
that's what I'm
happened,
saying. It's so stupid.
Maybe what happened is like he saw what happened in California. He was like, don't want to do that. So maybe he, you know, maybe his connections got him in touch with the governor and like all the people that do that at the welfare. I don't want to throw like. I mean, Brett Favre's done a good job of throwing aspersions on himself. But like I said last week, Morgan said last week, this is like the 5th time we mentioned last week's episode, so y'all should definitely check it out. Even the dogs agree with me. So you know, I am, you know, Brett Favre is just tarnishing his legacy, whatever legacy he had left. And like it doesn't need to happen, Brett. Like just repay the money. We don't need to talk about this anymore, although I'm sure we will, because they're also investigating your vitamin company. I mean, you got the jeans that are doing well. I said last week that you were just deposed. Now they're making you pay back with the welfare funds. Dog, at this point, you might as well just be ready to go to jail. I'm not throwing a legend. You might just be ready to just make a settlement and pay this back because it just seems like this guy, you're going to jail written all over it. like, you know, like it's just, and I hate throwing aspersions on it like that, but it just has that written on it.
Do you think this is going to affect his Hall of Fame? Is he
Probably.
already in the Hall of Fame? I was just trying to look.
I don't think he is.
Think that I don't know if he's old. No, he is. He has a gold jacket.
Okay,
Damn
so
it.
yeah,
I was hoping they would not give it to him.
Yeah, it's too late for that. He still gets his pension. I don't understand. Like it's like you said, I don't understand. Or maybe we need to have a Mississippi reporter on here in the next few weeks to really get into the weeds of this because I think his financials are publicly available. I just obviously none of us live in Mississippi, and we wouldn't cover this other than the fact that it's national news. But like you know, Brett Favre, you know it's not looking good for him, bro. It's not looking good.
No.
I have nothing else to say but that. It's not looking good for you, Brett.
No. Move on. We're done talking about this person.
Yes. Let's talk about what
the Super Bowl is Sunday. Woo!
Clap it up. Sup, Phil Sims? I mean, not Phil, Chris Sims. Clap it up.
Clap it up. So, Super Bowl is Sunday. It is the Chiefs versus the Niners. I think this is going to be such a good game. I don't know who's going to win. I would say never bet against Patrick Mahomes would be my assumption. I think it's just going to be so good. It is, you know, there's so many players in it. You have Christian McCaffrey, who is just the best offensive player right now. I'm like clicking to see if he's going to win offensive player. Do you think he's going to win offensive player of the year? Is that a thing, or is it offensive rookie of the year?
I think there's an offensive player and defensive player. He should win. So should Michael Parsons.
Because TJ Watt just won defensive player of the year. So I'm wondering if they've done offensive player. But he should win. Like, there's just absolutely no doubt in his mind. I mean, unless they give it to a quarterback, but like, I don't know. I feel like that a quarterback should just be ineligible for that award since the MVP is just always quarterback. So
yeah. Well, we know the MVP is going to be Lamar.
Yeah, and MVP is definitely going to be Lamar. I'm assuming Rookie of the Year is going to be CJ Stroud.
Oh, CJ or Puka?
I think it could either be CJ or Puka, but I think Puka was in a much better situation than CJ was in. You know what I mean? Like, no one expected the Texans to do anything this year.
Yeah, you're right. But yeah, to the game,
the game. It's
Yeah,
going to be such a fun game. We got Usher at halftime. Who do you
Taylor
think? Who do you
Swift.
think is going to win?
Well, I think I'm going to continue with the pattern of going against the Niners. The Chiefs are going to win this game. It pains me to say it after what they did to my Eagles last year, but the Chiefs are going to win again, just because I can't help but keep seeing the pattern. Like the Niners don't really have, like, I feel like we overhyped their linebacking core. We've seen it in the last 2 games that they've had, that they don't really have the strong linebackers that we thought they had, So I feel like, obviously this game will probably come down to, can Isaiah Pacheco continue to attack, the middle of the field, because I feel like, Travis Kelce is going to get a lot of attention. So this will be a Pacheco Mahomes game, and obviously Rashee Rice too. But I feel like this is going to come down to Isaiah Pacheco. Which offensive line will dominate? I think it will be the Chiefs, and I think that Patrick Mahomes will make enough superstar plays to win this game. And I just think if you give Andy Reid 2 weeks to destroy your defense, he will. And it seems like Eric Bieniemy is like consulting now. I don't know if you have more info on this than I do. But I feel like he is consulting now since he's done with your Commanders.
Yeah.
Obviously our prediction didn't come true there, but
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure what he's been doing with the Chiefs, but like I said, why would you bet against the Chiefs? If I was a betting person, and I'm not, I would bet on the Chiefs because, this is what I said about the AFC and the NFC championship games. These teams are super evenly matched. They play 100 times. I think they probably each win 50. If we, I was listening to some interviews and stuff that was done throughout the week, and I think the biggest thing that stuck out to me is that the 49ers need big plays to happen. Patrick Mahomes will make plays. Like, that's not the problem for the Chiefs. The Chiefs know those big plays are coming. The 49ers have to make those plays. They need Christian McCaffrey on a run that's supposed to be 5 yards to break a tackle and run for 40. Like, they need a few of those plays to happen. And if those plays don't happen, I don't think they win the game. So they couldn't get lucky. Not lucky, because it's not lucky when it's skill, but they need those breaks in the game. And if those breaks don't happen, the Chiefs are going to win. No doubt.
Let's be real. They got lucky 2 weeks ago against the Lions. Let's be completely honest. They should not be here. This should be Detroit's Super Bowl. They should not be here. Like, I don't think that's unfair to the Niners or their fans. Like, they totally should have lost 2 weeks ago, but they didn't.
Yeah.
So
I agree. All right. So you're taking the Chiefs. Do you have a score?
Yeah, I just think that, they will be the beneficiary. The Chiefs are the more experienced team. I feel like the Niners have benefited from being the more experienced team. But this is the first time that a lot of them have been to the Super Bowl. And I feel like that inexperience will show itself. And I think the Chiefs will win. I'm going to say 30-20.
Okay. I have Chiefs 21-28. So Chiefs winning 21-28.
Okay. And we have
as we're talking about this, Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey just won the FedEx Aaron Ground Players of the Year.
Okay. Yeah, and the other thing is, like, I just feel like the other thing that's going to determine this is, like, the Chiefs defensive coordinator, he just knows how to blitz, and I think he will mentally destroy Brock Purdy. But yeah, let's move right along to the matchup that we've been discussing. Will it happen, Morgan? Are Caitlin Clark and Paige Beckers on a collision course next month in the NCAA tournament? You want to start on this one?
So if the NCAA could write a script, they would have Caitlin Clark and Paige Beckers in the championship. They would, but they can't. So we were discussing, do you put them in different sides so that there's a chance that they meet in the championship, or do you put them closer together on one side so that they can play earlier? So we're assured that we're going to get a Beckers Clark game. I would love to see it, and I would freaking love for Paige to kick Caitlin Clark's butt. I love both of them. Caitlin Clark is an amazing player. She's doing amazing things for women's sports. I love Paige Beckers. Like, I have the biggest girl crush on her. I think she's so cool. I saw her in okay, no, this is actually really funny. So I was flying home from DC. I went home for Christmas, and all of the UConn players were on my team for some reason. They were home and they were in DC for the holidays, I guess. So it was Paige, Easy Fudd, the girl who used to go to Fairfield. She's now in the league. What's her name? Two more of them. I can't remember their names. They were on my flight. I talked to them on the flight, like whatever. So we're waiting for our bags. I'm like texting Dan. I'm like, do I take a picture? Do I take a picture? And I freaking chickened out. And I went up to them and I was like, you guys are great basketball players. I love watching you play. And then I walked away. And like thinking back on it, I'm like, I should have asked for a picture. Like they probably would have thought that was so cool. Like how many women's college basketball players get recognized enough to take a picture? You know, but we all look gross and whatever. But one of my biggest regrets is not getting a picture. But like we forget how tall these women are because again, it's the same thing as men in basketball. Like they're all roughly the same height. So you see them all together and then you walk up and you're like, oh my God, they're so tall. Like she's like 6 feet tall. She's so tall.
Yes, she is.
So I'm a big Paige stan. So I would love to see this. I think again, this would be probably one of the highest watched games, definitely women's games, but probably one of the highest watched NCAA games of the year. If not the highest women's watched game in history. I could easily see that being a possibility. These are both going to be forces in the WNBA for years to come. I think it'd be fun. I hope it happens. And then I hope UConn wins.
Yeah, obviously you're the big UConn fan of the both of us, but like we talked about this off air. I know y'all are probably sick of us referencing the off air talk before this podcast. That's why it was so late. When you get two broadcasters together, we're just going to talk. So I feel like as I said to Morgan, I'll say to y'all right now, I feel like if the NCAA could script it, they would want one of these teams to go on a losing streak so they could put one of them as the double-digit seed to assure that they play each other early because there's no guarantee that they'll meet up. Obviously, South Carolina will have something to say about that. LSU will probably have something to say about that. And a lot of other teams that UCLA will have something to say about that. Stanford will have something to say about that. USC will have something to say about that. Right? So, like, you know, it's a lot of stuff. Like, obviously, because, you know, the people who made the schedule. I'm
looking up the rankings right now because I'm not sure.
The people who made the schedule did not schedule well. I mean, obviously, there was no guarantee that Paige would have another healthy season, but she did this year. Yeah. So I feel like they definitely missed an opportunity to schedule these two to face each other earlier this season. So, I mean, it's a huge hope. Obviously, this is a huge hypothetical question. But, you know, if one of them goes on a losing streak, you never know what can happen in the tournament, the Big East tournament and the Big Ten tournament. But, I mean, we all assume that UConn will probably win the Big East tournament, if not the Big East regular season crown.
It's an easier tournament on the women's side for sure than it is on the men's.
Yeah. So, you know, they probably still could meet in the Elite Eight or the Final Four or maybe, as Morgan hopes, the championship game. But, you know, I feel like I love both of these women. They both play a great game. Obviously, Caitlin Clark is more of the scorer, where Paige Beckers is more of the Jason Kidd, the playmaker, the person who will score if they need you to score. But I mean, I just think that obviously right now, if this game were to happen and Paige won, even though she came first, it would probably be a passing of the torch, some people would say. You know, and Caitlin Clark would then go on to the WNBA to reign in that with A'ja Wilson, Aaliyah Boston, Jackie Moore, and all the others. And then Paige Beckers would be right behind her next year. So, you know, it's a great time. Like women's, I don't think we were talking about this last week. Again, like the 8th reference of this show last week. Some of y'all should probably really catch the show last week. But like, this is a great time because there has never been a bunch of like, I don't remember since maybe I was growing up or we both were growing up where you had Maya Moore, Elena Delle Donne in her prime, Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi. You know, you had a young Stewie coming up after being in Connecticut and winning those 4 championships. Maya Moore before she decided to take her social justice break. Lindsay Whalen. You haven't had this much like star power in both the WNBA and college basketball in a long time. So
Yeah.
now it's just a feeder system. So like I could not wait for this matchup. Obviously, I think that my Philly sister in South Carolina will have a lot to say about this. But I feel like if this could happen, this would be perfect. Whoever's writing the script would probably get paid a lot of money if this happens. But I doubt. I hope it does happen, but we don't know if it will. But I fully expect these two to meet either in the Final Four or the championship game. Obviously, South Carolina.
I was just looking at. I was wondering who was gonna if there was a chance that either of them would be able to be on the 2024 Olympic team, but they're not.
Yeah,
Aaliyah Boston is Kelsey Plum, Brianna Story, Diana Taurasi, Jackie Young, Sabrina, Kelsey Plum. I already say Kelsey. Alyssa Thomas, Jackie Young. It's a good team, but it would be fun if Paige and Caitlin were on it. All right, so moving on. We don't have that much left to talk about. We're going to do quick WNBA hits. Not UConn. Connecticut Sun got, oh my gosh, I had her name up. A great player. What is her name? Why can't I remember it? Do you know what I'm talking about? I was so excited about this.
All right. Well, I can go first. Yeah. So I want to shout out Nneka Ogwumike for bringing Nneka Ogwumike and Skylar Diggins-Smith going to Seattle. That was a big move because Seattle has been, kind of down since Sue Bird left, and obviously Breanna Stewart has left now. She's at the New York. She's with the New York Liberty. But I just think that like the Seattle Storm are going to be a force now with both Nneka Ogwumike and Skylar Diggins-Smith, who obviously, those of you that don't know, it was a lot going on there. She had a child. There was some stuff going on with a discrimination lawsuit, and it turns out she was discriminated against because she was pregnant and stuff like that. There's a lot going on there. You guys should definitely Google it and stuff like that. But I think that having those two back is really in Seattle is great for the WNBA. Candace Parker still now with the Las Vegas Aces. Still can't forget about them. Aja Wilson, Jackie Young, like Chelsea Gray, like that's an all-star team in and of itself right there. So like, I think it's still the Las Vegas Aces world, but I think the Seattle Storm will have a lot to say about this. That's mine.
I agree. So the Connecticut Sun just signed. So they signed the WNBA champion. I know I'm going to mess her name up. Astu Nador Fall. Is that right?
I believe.
And then Mariah Jefferson and Tiffany Mitchell. Great, like they made some moves, and so I'm excited. I love the Connecticut Sun. It's been fun to have them here. I have a few friends that are involved in the dance team there. I watch them on TV sometimes. I haven't really gotten a chance to go up to Mohegan and see them, but Mohegan is awesome. So we're trying to plan a weekend that works this year. We go up, watch a game, stay at Mohegan, go to the casino, be super fun. The stadium there is gorgeous though. So super happy. Nice. This is going to be really fun. And then I'm excited to see where all the prospects go this year. There's a lot of good talent coming out. So we'll see who enhances each team. And the thing that's sucky about the WNBA is that a lot of these women I don't mean this in a harsh way, they're older. So it's really hard for some of these young rookies to stay on the team. They get drafted, but then you see a lot of them get cut before the season even starts. So hoping that some of these really good young players will be able to come and find a place. There'll be a place for them in the WNBA.
Yeah, no league needs expansion more than the WNBA. So there should definitely be a team. Players. Yeah, there should definitely be a team here in Philadelphia. I'm not tooting my own horn because I would love to have another basketball team to cover in Philly, but there should be a team in Philly. There should be a team in Houston. Give the Comets back. The Monarchs should be back in Sacramento. There's a lot. They're missing out on a lot of big markets without having a team. Bring those teams back, WNBA. So to our favorite segment, he's not him, she's not her, and they aren't. Woo, back again. You wanna start or?
Can I take your girl?
Well, go ahead. Take her.
Were you going to take her?
No, I was not. You take her.
Kim Mulkey.
Oh,
Girlfriend. You didn't see this? All the stuff with Brittany Griner? And
I
then we're going to retire her.
Yeah, I talked about
Did we talk about this last week?
No, I did not.
No, we talked about something else with her not liking gay people. That was what we talked about last week. But this is like, they shouldn't retire her number, all this stuff. Like, girl, just shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. Coach your team. Girlfriend, you're like ranked 13 this year. Yeah. Go get your team in order.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I just don't understand why other people just have to care so much about other people's businesses. Like, back off, chill out, you're fine. He's not him. Now, this is I was originally like, okay, I'm just gonna do Aaron Rodgers, not Aaron Rodgers. See, I'm mixing them up. Brett Favre, because of all this stuff. But I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna do Kadarius Toney.
Ooh.
Dude, shut your mouth. The teams are trying to give you an out. They're trying to say that you're not playing because you just had a baby. You're not playing because you can't catch a football. That's why you're not playing. So stop telling everybody that you're healthy and you're fine, because that looks so much worse for you if you want to get traded. Just be quiet. Watch the Super Bowl. So that's my he's not him, she's not her. I'm like, he drives me, and again, he's driven me insane since he played for the Giants. Played is a relative term. I don't know how many games he actually stepped foot on the field, but like, the Chiefs are trying to give you an out, just take it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I totally agree on both of those. I know I heard about Kim Mulkey protesting, but it's from like the Daily Mail, so I didn't take it seriously because sometimes I guess a broken clock. A broken clock is right twice a day, apparently. So, but yeah, my they aren't them. I just really hate talking about them. I know Morgan loves for me to talk about this team, but again, the Villanova Wildcats. What is going on, guys? Like, I really don't like spending this much time talking about a hometown suburban team. I really don't. Like, Morgan knows, like, I'm Syracuse through and through, but like, I grew up on Villanova basketball, and now, like, they're a bottom tier team. They're like, they just switch places. St. John's is top 3, and Villanova's in the bottom 3. Like, what is going on, man? Like I said last week, another reference to last week's show, that Kyle Neptune, even though it is the 8th day of Black History Month, and you are the chosen one, that it will only be a matter of time, especially if you get more years like this. And as Justin Moore is a senior, he'll probably leave for the NBA. That recruiting class better be good, dog, because those people in Ardmore, Pennsylvania, or I'm sorry, Villanova, PA, but Ardmore, PA, let's be real, will only have but so much patience for you, dog. Like, I know a lot of Villanova people that are trying to give you the benefit of the doubt. They are so happy that a black guy has replaced the great Jay Wright. They want to give you the benefit of the doubt, but the patience is wearing thin, dog. Like, this is Villanova. They expect to dominate the Big East, at least in men's basketball. Like, like, at least compete with UConn and Marquette. But you're out here getting outplayed by Butler and Creighton. Creighton that hasn't been relevant since Doug McDermott left. Like, you're losing to them. Like, is Ziegler still on that team? Like, he's like a 6-year senior. He's still on that team, and you're losing to him? Like, Makai Ziegler, I don't want to throw any aspersions on him, but no, Makai Ziegler, you're losing to him. You're losing to Creighton. You're losing to Butler. Like, it is crazy for you, dog. So not them to Villanova. Y'all got to get it together, or Kyle will not have a job in another year or two. You got to get it together.
I love it when you say that they're not them. It makes me very happy. That just means that my number one UConn Huskies are going to continue to be number one. Is that all you have, or you have more?
Nah. My he's not him. So all the people still complaining about Taylor Swift, like, to all the people still complaining about Taylor Swift. Now, actually, no, I'm switching it. That is a comment. That's my other they aren't them. but my also he's not him to all the people paying all that money to go to the Super Bowl. like I think Charles Barkley was talking about this. $5,000 to $40,000 for a Super Bowl
Freaking
ticket.
crazy. I would
You
only
have-
go if I got a ticket given to me. I don't
Yeah.
think I'd ever buy one.
You have to be out your freaking mind, or unless we have a press credential. Like you
Yeah.
have to be out your
Love
freaking
that.
mind.
Love that for us.
Like,
Yeah.
no matter how rich either one, I won't speak for Morgan. No matter how rich I become, like if I ever become rich or upper middle class at all, like I will not be paying a mortgage payment to go to the Super Bowl, even if the Eagles were there. I'd watch it on TV. Like ludicrous.
I'd pay, like, if the Giants were there, I might pay. I don't know. I also like, what happens if you lose? Like, I feel like
Yeah.
that's so miserable.
Yeah.
I'd rather just drink my sorrows away or like go to bed and home and
Yes.
not be like, well, shoot, now I have to get out of this stupid stadium and like,
Yes.
whatever.
Yeah, like even like I think Mama Kelsey was talking about how like I think she was half joking, but I mean it's serious because I think even Christian McCaffrey with all the money he can make, I think they're doing. I don't know if this was ever confirmed. Y'all probably talked about it on PFT, but did you hear that like his girlfriend or his wife said that they couldn't afford it? And I'm all like, wait a minute, you can't afford, y'all can't afford a Super Bowl box because like it was a lot of money. I'm all like,
Oh,
wait
a
a minute.
box. Yeah. I mean, it was
Yeah.
like $21,000 or something.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. McCaffrey makes a lot of money. Your father-in-law is Ed McCaffrey. I know he got a lot of money from being the
She's
best
like
one
a
of the.
supermodel.
Yeah,
She makes
being one.
money too.
Yeah,
Crazy.
so like I don't understand it, but hey,
You think
I'm not
Taylor's
gonna
paying
knock
for the
it.
box?
Yeah,
You
I'm
think
not gonna
Taylor's
knock
paying
it.
for the Kelsey box?
Yeah, like I'm not gonna knock it. Like if you want to be cheap and you're rich, hey, I'd be right there with you. So like, but
Yeah.
my he's not him to all the people, the hims and hers, paying a lot of money. I know LeBron James has done it, but again, basketball players make a lot of money. He gets that back just by walking out the door as LeBron James. But like, if you're not
He
a
gets whatever outfit he wears to the game pays for his ticket. You know what I mean?
yeah, so like, yeah, if you're like a big time basketball player or like a soccer player, baseball player, more power to you. But like, it is crazy that how much money this is $5,000 to $44,000 for one Super Bowl ticket. Now imagine if you're like a Travis Kelce ain't got no kids, but last year for Jason Kelce, like he had to pay for his wife. I think they left the kids at home, but he still had to pay for his wife, like, and a bunch of other people. Like obviously Travis could cover it. Maybe Tay-Tay is covering the box.
And that's what I said.
you
She
know-
definitely has to be covered because she
Yeah.
can't sit in regular admission. Like she
Yeah.
has to have a box. All
Yeah.
right. That is it. Happy National Girls and Women's in Sports Day. Happy Super Bowl weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. We will be back some point next week to recap what happened, the fallout, any additional firings or hirings or trading that starts to happen because we start to get into free agency pretty soon. We'll start doing combine prep. The NFL doesn't die. The NFL doesn't die. It never rests ever.
It
So
never stops.
thanks for watching. We will see you guys next week. Peace out.
Deuces.